Rolling.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
And welcome to Getting Back to Me, Both Sides of the Story.
With Scottie and Marcy.
This is episode 42.
It is?
42.
I thought that, yeah. I got ahead of myself last week.
Yeah, well, so did I.
We
did the wrong chapter one week. It's been a long haul. We're almost done. This is chapter 37, so there's only 38 chapters.
One more chapter to go after this. Mm-hmm. What's this one?
This one is Vanity Fair? ? And this was right after we had dinner with your former sister-in-law and our niece, Tammy and AC.
She's still my sister-in-law.
Yeah, she is. I love Tammy. I'm glad we're friends still. And we were coming home from dinner, and it was the night that Caitlyn Jenner's Vanity Fair cover dropped, and sent shockwaves throughout the world. So, of course, it came up at dinner conversation, and I was kind of mulling it on the way home, and went something like this. We were driving home when I took out the thought of Caitlyn Jenner and turned it over in my hands, examining it from all sides. And it hit me. Growing up, there were more than a few times when a transgender person made the news. I grew up in the Dr. Renee Richards era. With each story, I was spun for a loop for days, and I would be locked in an endless cycle of, how did she? Why can't I? Is that what I am? What's wrong with me? Can this go away? Why did God do this to me? I learned over time to avoid these news items. Strange to admit that now, but I just couldn't take the feedback loop. Still, I would get blindsided every so often, and the gate that I built to keep the dragon in the dungeon would be blown to smithereens from the outside. But I'm realizing, not so with Caitlyn. So much so that even my memory of how a mere picture like this could ruin my life for days seems like a story I read once, rather than an experience of my own. An experience that once ruled my life, claimed my life, derailed my life, hijacked me. Not this time. This time, I'm allowing myself to be the woman that I was born to be, and I'm strong. Caitlyn Jenner's debut on the cover of Vanity Fair does not remind me of a world I'll never see, but rather it's just an anecdote in my world.
How does it feel?
Well, this is something that came up in some of the workshops that we've done recently. It's hard to describe to people that, how could you live your life for 45 years without anyone ever knowing anything? And then, instantly, I switched, and people are like, they can't find Scott anymore. Except when I wear white shoes after Labor Day, which I did yesterday. What a party fellow that was. I don't have upbringing.
Scottie's been a speaker and workshop leader now at Kaiser Hospital, Kaiser Permanente, for doctors and all kinds of Kaiser staff to educate them about how to be with transgender patients. And it's been going amazingly, as you might imagine, because she's outspoken and fun. But when she got dressed yesterday, I went, ooh, white shoes? She goes, yeah, why not?
I was wearing a white sweater.
I didn't push because I figured that came more from my New England upbringing than the California looser mentality. But when you mentioned it, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I had 3 women to go, well.
As a matter of fact. You just never listen to me.
I do listen to you. You
listen to me, but you ignore what I say.
I had my shoes already on. I was going out the door. It would have been nice to know that before I got dressed. But anyways,
I didn't know you were going to put them on. How could I do that?
What I was trying to explain, though, is that despite that part of socialization...
Faux pas.
There you go.
There you go.
Two
Missed
paws, not faux. Is that I had ways to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
I, like a lot of late stage trans women, come up with ways of, we think, managing not being who we're going to be, and the crushing emotional and psychological and physical trauma that comes from trying to suppress that. And people don't understand that. They think, well, why would you choose this?
Oh.
You know, it's not
Even educated,
even
informed
even
people
doctors
are saying that.
even doctors
know?
were saying
It's
that. I had
still-
to make that point to them. It's, you know, it is visceral. It is real. Dysphoria is insanely real, and it rules your life. And you
I'm
don't
tweeting up a storm about all.
You don't even know how much it rules your life. You don't even have that word. That's what doctors use to describe a collective or shared response that trans people report. But we don't have that word for it. All we know is this is horrifying. And so what are we going to do with something like that? What does anybody do with something like that? They come up with ways of developing coping mechanisms. Mine was never look at those pictures. Mine was never, I wasn't going to have a life as a woman. I had a boy's life. I had a boy's body. So
A boy's wife.
I had a boy's wife. So to even wish for it or long for it was
That would
horrifying.
just add to the torture.
It just added to the
Yeah.
torture, so I didn't look at stuff like that. So that's why this is such a pivotal moment in my journey, is that, you know, there was some times where it was just out and out in our face. You know, Dr. Renee Richards did not have an easy life.
Mm.
When she came out and tried to still compete as a woman in the professional tennis tour, she was vilified. Her life was not easy at all. And we had, you know, this was in the 70s and 80s. Nobody had any idea what was going on with her, and very few people stepped forward to support her. It was horrifying to watch. So, but I couldn't watch even the news about it or read about it, even to like find out how I am or who I am or what I am or what to do about it. Even doing research about it just was a tease that made the whole
And there
thing.
wasn't much there, and a lot of it, even then, was misinformation. And still, I mean, I don't know what year it got taken out of being considered a psychological,
Only between the DSM-4 and 5.
which is when.
Well, we're still on DSM-5, so this was about 10 years ago.
Because I've been having to fight some people on Twitter about
well,
that.
it used to be
Follow
called
me on Twitter
gender identity
and
disorder.
retweet.
Yes,
and help
follow
us.
Marcy. Follow us, but follow Marcy for sure. She's very active on Twitter.
I'm just over it. I'm sorry. Somebody said, so what? Trump hasn't really changed anything by not enforcing the bathroom laws and leaving it up to the states. Oh, really? Like Virginia?
Yeah.
Where now what it is that states can discriminate individually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's licensed to
but
discriminate.
marijuana, it's so funny. Well, we shouldn't be involved, and the government shouldn't be involved. That's a state's issue. And we've had states like Colorado and California and Washington that have already voted on the marijuana laws. They've worked it out. Everybody's agreed. It's been voted. And they're talking about making that a federal case.
Right,
So
to take it apart.
Where's the
Yeah,
continuity?
there's no logical continuity. People are going to write laws to enforce their own life on other people. Where did that come from? That's not an American value. And you're not allowed to say anymore that you're fighting for the American people. The less than 30% of the country that wanted you to be there, go sit down and hang out with your Republican.
Sorry, if some of you
Anyways.
are Republican, we don't think you're all. Well, anyway.
Well, your president.
There's Trumpsters. Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
But what's
Getting
interesting
back to
is
you.
that this generation of trans women and men who are coming of age, the internet has shifted from this dark and scary place that led you down a whole lot of scary corridors
Mhm.
to being rife with good information and
yeah.
good inspiring stories. And that's why we try to post as much as we can, is so that, you know, the trans girl that's out there goes, wow, Scottie did it.
Well, I'm not alone.
I'm not alone. And that's the thing is, we keep saying that the millennials are so good about this, and they're so open about this. That is only part of the issue.
Well, it's also a very sweeping generality, like all the other things we were just talking about. There's plenty of millennials who are alt-right-esque, you know?
Yeah, well, but even just the outside part of it, that life, there's a lot more outside support, but there's not a lot of inside support. But despite the fact that suddenly everybody's going to be welcoming to you, and not everybody, but there's going to be a much more welcoming environment to come out to, you still have to go through the interior journey.
Absolutely.
You still have to make sense of a whole bunch of unconnected and disconnected wires. So that's the thing that's what I'm going to start focusing some of my attention to help and support is young trans people, boys and girls, need support in the emotional side and the intellectual and psychological growth that we have, because I had a lot of great women in my life, thank God, but I still got lessons from them once removed. It was all by example, but nothing directly to it. It's like nothing that my mom ever said directly to me about being a woman, except she did. I take that part of that back. There were times where she would tell me some things like that to help me understand how women think. And so I think that's why I was so prepared for you. But it's not all of it. It's not the stuff about how to be a woman. It's how women think. So that made a lot of it, and it made total sense to me. That was the thing. It's like,
duh.
Yeah, duh. So
I guess we can be grateful to Caitlin and those trailblazers who, have been willing, including you with your book and everything. So.
Well, but also the media. I mean, Diane Sawyer did us a solid like nobody's business. She treated because it's messed up.
And Katie Couric, just recently with her.
Well, Bruce was messed up. Let's just be real. Bruce's answers to Diane Sawyer's questions on that special were messed up. I was like tearing my hair out and throwing things at the TV. You're setting us back 10 years. But Caitlin stepped out and stepped as a maturing woman. But Diane Sawyer was the one who was amazing with it. And you're right, Katie Couric. She's just a wonderful, open-hearted cheerleader who got in there and didn't mince words, admitted where she didn't understand things, but didn't back away from trying to understand them.
Well, and you know what I loved about that documentary was...
we're talking about Gender Revolution. That just came.
Yeah. That she, when she was curious, when she said, is this a stupid question, when she had asked a stupid question, everything she did was joyful. She kept her joy and interest and willingness to be wrong, willingness to learn. I just wish, that's what I wish for everybody. When I see some of the things on Twitter that are just cut and dried, opinion based on I'm not sure what, that clearly is untractable. Is that the right word? Intractable?
Yeah.
Which I wish were retractable. It makes me mad because it's based on false
I don't know how the people that have that kind of opinion live their life. There's nothing else in life that does that. Are they so frustrated in their world that that their black and white doesn't happen in traffic?
Well, they're scared. They're scared because there's nothing black and white anymore.
Exactly.
Because I tried to let somebody know on Twitter, I went, by the way, there's a spectrum, look it up, and you're on it. I mean, you're going after transgender. If you have any idea of the whole range of identifications on the spectrum, including you, let's not get bogged down with transgender. There's a whole lot of variations.
Yeah, but is someone so frustrated that the world is not black and white that they try to make this black and white? Is that where it comes from?
Wherever you can stick your stake in the sand.
Where is that? How are those people going to face their God and say that they were loving?
That's weird. I don't know. at the risk of really going out on a religious limb, I do find it a little odd that people who refer to themselves as Christians keep quoting the Old Testament rather than Christ's teachings. Maybe I'm ignorant and I don't understand something, but that just seems like, why wouldn't you just focus on his...
Because it doesn't make the argument they're trying to make.
I know. Well, okay, maybe.
That's right.
Okay. Well, before we go down too many other tracks, is there anything you want to say to kind of put a button on this one, or?
Well, I think that was a kind of a seminal moment for me, that to realize that I didn't have to use a third of my defense mechanisms. They were just taken away from me without, like, oh my God, it's so gone.
Because you're saying because you already basically had come out.
Yeah.
So now you could revel rather than revile.
Right, exactly.
Or recoil.
And it wasn't so big a deal either. It was like, wow, it's her on the cover. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Sort of. That's a little bit strange choice of costume, but whatever. And it wasn't a big deal one way or the other that way for me. And that was what it was. It was like it didn't shake my psyche. It also didn't do anything other to me than be, just like I said, just an anecdote in the world.
Right. So that must have given you a sense of your own shift and progress.
Exactly. And that's a lot of what transitioning is you've contemplated what a transitioned place would be for so long that when you're transitioning, you're not really aware of the changes that are happening daily.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's kind of like when we look at spirituality, like whenever you want to look at your attainment, you have to turn around and look backwards and to see how far you've come, because you don't feel the changes as they're coming.
Right.
Per
It's
se.
kind of like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
I remember.
I used to
3
think
years
this way.
ago, I blah blah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true.
So, and I think that's the part that about transitioning, especially that has fascinated the doctors yesterday. It was like they really wanted to know what was going on in my head.
Mm.
A lot of the other groups were not actual doctors. They were the lab techs, or they were the cashiers, or they were the nurses. But the doctors wanted to know what was going on inside of my head. What do hormones actually make you start thinking, and that sort of thing. And it was awesome, and they really cared. It was super cool. So, that inventory, I guess, of how I used to be and how I am, and you get to really see, like,
especially when you have to voice it like that, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's for your sake and for theirs.
Yeah.
I know we said congratulations and thank you to Kaiser last week for even doing this, for God being at the forefront. But what you're making me also want to say is those doctors and staff could just phone it in, appear for the workshop and go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they were so engaged and interested and curious.
None of them leave
hungry.
none of them leave afterwards. They all want to now come up and talk to me in a circle. So we stand in a circle for another 15, 20 minutes before they go, oh God, I've got patience. But nobody wanted to leave. It was really, really cool.
So everyone should be insured through Kaiser. So much
as we go into politics again.
Well, I was playing.
Nice dog leg.
Okay.
Well, I think that was what I wanted to say about that, and but it's a lot of it is also just the joy and the relief that, oh my God, it did happen. It happened almost quietly without me knowing, which is probably better.
Snuck up on both of us.
Yeah, we got through the scarier parts.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Got it. Okay. How about that?
That's a good place to stop.
I think so.
Okay.
All right. So remember to, in light of all this,
Right.
radiate
light, laughter, and love. See you next week.